I'm Darren Snow with Raised at Full Draw, and you're listening to the Tracks and Tackle Podcast.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. This is Ron Mentzer, the Arrow Eagle, and you're listening to Tracks and Tackle. We got a good one for you tonight. Sat down and had a round table. We had the Mentzer boys and we had the Barrick boys. Three on one side, three on the other side of the table, and we had some epic conversation. Buckle up, tune in, let's roll. Hey, hunting family, welcome back to Tracks and Tackle, where nature is our playground. We got a real good one for you today. Got sort of the whole gang loaded up here. We got a full house. So I'm going to start off with my main man, Brady. I'm going to bring him on. Brady, what's happening, brother?
What's up, man? It's good. It's Monday. The work's done. I got my feet propped up, and I got some time here to sit down with the gang. We got some good guests coming on here, and I'm just eager to stir the pot a little bit and, just shoot the breeze with everyone.
Yeah, that's it, man. We been scheduling's hard. Sometimes you get in to get like one or two guys on at a time, and we got a bit of a full house tonight. So let's bring on Buck. Buck is with us tonight as well. What's going on, brother?
It's not much, man. How you guys doing this evening?
Good. Glad you can make it.
Yeah, it worked out. It's a little rainy outside, so this is perfect timing.
Well, without a doubt, man, we got you guys on here tonight. Appreciate you jumping on. But the real reason that everybody's tuning in is for the guests we have tonight. We got the Barrick Brothers. So usually we got Justin, who represents Interstate Garage Doors, but Justin's got his whole crew with him, and we were just saying here before we hit record, like, you don't get in the mix when brothers start arguing. So we got Justin, we got Josh, and we've got Chris Barrick with us tonight. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
We are awesome, guys. So this is kind of like a free flow episode. We're just going to sort of sit back and shoot the breeze. I like your background. We got some, if you know the Barracks, I know. I haven't met Chris in person. I've met Josh in the past. I know Justin pretty well. But the legend goes, these guys are killers. I don't know if it's true or not. But why don't you guys introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, and let the listening audience know who you are.
I'm Chris. The youngest of the three of us. So yeah, just coach wrestling. Try to hunt as much as we can. Two little boys that I'm getting into hunting, and a wife that hunts, and just trying to find time to hunt outside of the kids and I guess wrestling.
Yeah, that's you and us both, always trying to find time. The best thing is, getting your kids involved, though. We talk about that a lot on the show, and I don't know, Chris, let me ask you this. Is it a positive or a negative that your wife hunts too?
It's a positive.
Trap question.
It's
yeah, really, I know it is a trick question.
She rifle hunts, so I don't do too much rifle hunting. So that's my time to take her out and for her to put meat on the table, which she's pretty good at. So
that's great. Actually, it's awesome if you can do that together. Do you do a lot of bow hunting?
Yeah.
Bow hunting, turkey killers. We want to get to know you guys, and we want the audience to get to know you guys too. So I'm prodding a little bit, but whatever we got to do to get you going. So archery, without a doubt. Like Matt, his girl is literally behind him throwing arrows down the hallway inside the house on a rainy night. So we can talk archery. And
For sure.
Brady's got a grin on his face because he's done the same at his home. Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, brother?
So I coach wrestling as well. I got two boys that are one that has been hunting for quite a few years, and then Everett, my youngest, this will be his first year hunting. So that's pretty exciting. He's really excited about turkey season, so he brings it up about every day. So
it's getting close.
A few short weeks we'll be getting him out there. So, but just same thing, trying to find time to get outside and get the boys outside and be outdoors, and fished last weekend. Anytime we can get outside and do something, that's what we try to do. So
you got the boys out for the youth day?
Yeah. Yep. We fished in the morning and then they fished again in the evening. So they love it. So
yeah, last weekend was a great weekend. I don't know about next weekend. It's going to be a little soggy.
We'll be chasing turkeys this coming weekend, so we'll be getting wet.
Right on, Justin. Welcome back, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks. It's good to be back. I'm happy to have these two with me this time.
So tell me a little bit about how hard it is to wrangle your brothers.
It's difficult. I mean, it's absolutely difficult. Josh coaches at Shippensburg High School. Chris coaches at Big Spring. I help him there. So there's weekends throughout the season, the rare weekend that we may have off. Undoubtedly, Josh is wrestling somewhere. So it's really tough. I would say, we're pretty close. But I would say it'd be nice to be able to get together more than we do. And it's tough through the fall and the winter, that time where we really would like to be together doing stuff. It's tough for us to get out on our own. So it is tough. So this is kind of a little bit of a rare occasion, but it's right in that gap between wrestling and when turkey season starts that, there's still wrestling practices and lifting and stuff, but it's cool to be able to put something together. We tried a lot of different days, and it finally worked out tonight. So happy about that.
So Mason just walked into the show.
I was going to say,
I know he loves the camera.
Well, I got my headset in, so he can't hear you either.
Tell him to say hi, man. Tell him we're talking about him.
Mason, they're talking about you. They saw you walking through the camera. So
No need to flexing.
I don't know what he's adjusting tonight.
You see these guys in the Mentzer household, they've always got a bow in their hand.
Oh, he's tightening his drop away cable.
So Matt, why don't you talk a little bit about certainly when we got success wrestling, it goes later into the season. The better you are, the later in the season it goes. And balancing that, you got a boy that wrestles and you got two girls that, shoot competitively.
Yeah, this was a hard winter for me a little bit here towards the end of it, because for regional weekend this year, I ended up in Kentucky, and I got to watch him wrestle on, Flo's live update. So I'm screaming at my phone. People are looking at me laughing, and that was actually harder than watching it in person. Because that was probably the first time I've missed any of the big matches.
Right.
I've missed a dual meet here or there, but as far as things that really mattered, that was the first I've missed them. But Mama definitely wasn't missing her boy, so if the girls were going to get to do anything, Dad was going to have to take the girls to Kentucky. So it all worked out. We got to come watch him wrestle the following weekend in Hershey, so he did what he was supposed to do, and I got to see him wrestle again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough finding that work-life balance. And,
and it's the divide and conquer thing. The girls, up until now, my girls were never involved in too much, but they found archery, and I mean, they fell in love with archery, and then they made friends that shoot archery, and it's just snowballed from there. They were actually up in Palmyra over the weekend shooting with friends they met through the the competitive shooting here this winter. They were on a 3D course. It was a private invitation thing. Palmyra had a Sunday shoot, but these girls know the guy that sets it up and had the opportunity to go be the only ones on the course Saturday.
That's cool.
So just the four of them, my two girls and two friends were up there shooting Saturday morning. So it's every week.
never a
It's
free
every
weekend.
weekend. Oh, there's not actually. I was just looking at the calendar here beside me on the wall. I think it's the next 13 weeks in a row we're going to shoot somewhere.
Wow.
At least Saturday. If some weekends there's 2 weekends, one in June here that we're shooting Friday one place, Saturday a different place, and Sunday a different place. And there's a weekend in May that we're doing the same thing. Friday one place, Saturday different, and then Sunday a different place.
Well, sometimes, I see like parents our ages, and you guys got boys and girls and stuff too. Like I see like parents that are my age and all the stuff that you guys do to like, now I played sports growing up, but I only did like one thing at a time. When you got multiple kids, like keeping up with them, man, it's impressive what you guys do. Like sometimes I think, man, you got to tell the kid no.
But now that wrestling's over, we're done wrestling for the year. You see Mason in the background with the bow. That's where he spends his time now.
Yeah.
He works out maybe 1 or 2 days a week still with club, but the bow's in his hand most of the time. When you see him walking around, he's got something going on.
Right on.
I got a couple girls that I need to get around your girls somehow.
Definitely.
Maybe get the bug in there a little bit. But Mason just state competition as far as archery. Did he won state?
He won indoor. They shoot a 5-spot target. He won indoor target this year. Obviously while wrestling season was going on, so he literally was maybe shooting 1 day a week practicing, and was only shooting when he had time, because he's telling me that I'm giving him too much credit. He was shooting once a week. And
tell him when he's not in the room, we talk trash on him. It's just
when you're not here, we really talk about you. We're being nice because you're here. But no, he didn't shoot much through the winter because he was wrestling 6-7 days a week. He was somewhere wrestling every day, and he wanted to shoot state, so he qualified. He threw a regional. He qualified for the opportunity to shoot at the state level, and somehow he went up there and won states.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was definitely underdog. The kids that had been shooting all year, they kind of, they were giving him the side eye when he walked in there, like, who's this guy? Like, what's he think his deal is? And he just did his thing.
Yeah,
that's what it's about. Anything like that.
Well, and you guys will appreciate this. I mean, you guys all with coaching wrestling, so with archery is so much like wrestling, not from a combat sport, but the mental side of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and Mason laughs all the time. He's like, "What's there to be worried about?" I'm wearing t-shirt and jeans. I'm not out there in spandex singlet with another rolling around on the mat. We're all in a line doing our thing. It's just, there's nothing to worry about. It's just me and a bow and arrow. So from the mental side of it, there's so much crossover. And and it comes natural for him, second nature, with the mental side of wrestling. So
talking about schedules and getting everybody lined up, and we'll circle around here and get some questions to you guys, but I want to hit Brady because haven't been able to track you down in a bit, and I know we talk scheduling all the time because just like the Barrick boys, we want to try to make time for hanging out and doing that sort of stuff, but you're tied up pretty solidly as well.
Yeah, we were looking at it. I mean, some's business, some's pleasure, but I'm booked all the way through May. I think I'm going to get out 2 times turkey hunting. April here, I think going fishing, going to the cabin, just trying to make time. I got to get scheduled with Buck. My girlfriend's trying to get into archery. She doesn't want to hunt, but she wants to shoot targets. So she's okay with killing trees and killing paper, but I think it'll be fun, something easy for us to do to, get out and still spend quality time together. So that's got to get on the schedule. Yeah, it's full, and everybody I talk to, they say as you get older, it only gets worse. And, I believe it, especially you have kids, you settle down, you got all these places you got to run them. So just not making time to do the things you want to do ultimately at the end of the day, which I think it's tough for the Barrick boys over there, like wrestling season, and especially being a coach, like you can't skip practice if you're the coach. So, lining up your interests, archery season perfectly lines in that. And I'm at a point now too, with my work schedule. I have some time free during the week. I just know, to look into doing something like that, because it's always nice to give back to the community and especially the youth. So I do ponder, getting tied in with helping out with wrestling or baseball or something, scholarly, but it's time. Time is what it comes down to.
Yeah, you got to pick your passions, and as far as that goes. So I think we can all appreciate how busy schedules can get. So this is awesome that we can get all this entire group on at the same time. Let me throw a question at you guys, from, growing up in a hunting family, is there hypothetically, like if you had to pick like a hunting trip to go hunt with your brothers, because you know how it is with brothers, we're all competitive. Like, is there a go-to hunt that you guys would choose, and just, sort of respond to that?
For me, I'll open up. I mean, for me, I think something that'd be really cool would be cool to go do an elk hunt.
That's what I was going to
Like,
say.
I feel like, camp out in the wilderness and hunt from there. But if I had to pick, I think honestly, like I'd make a turkey swing, like a turkey, just hit a couple states. If we're talking like a week, let's go hit a few states, because the elk hunting really, it's cool. I've never done it, but I mean, you watch it and it's an adrenaline deal. But to be successful, like there's a tremendous amount of work there to be successful, and you're working the whole time. There really is no working except for night, where I would imagine you're just wanting to sleep, because all day all you did was just work. And you
a lot
kill
of exercise.
You kill one, you got to get that giant thing out of there, which at the end would be a super, super cool deal. But to go hit a couple states and, kill a few turkeys each, maybe, and when you kill them together, one guy killing them, it's a team, it's as exciting for the team. For me, I think I would probably say, let's go hit 3 or 4 states where turkeys are extremely plentiful, and we're going to be able to get into them and take some home.
Josh, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about this. I read the little sheet that he said I didn't read. I did. And I thought about this, and I was going to say an elk hunt, just because of how we grew up. Like, that's kind of, if you had one thing, a hunt of a lifetime to me is like, you're only going to do this once. We're going to kill turkeys every year. You're only going to do it once, like a pack in, get way back in, spike camp, go through, shooting a 1,200-pound turkey with a bow is pretty sweet. And that's, basically elk hunting is you're communicating, you're listening to the animal and stuff like that. And then getting it out would probably be the best part I know the way our mentalities are and stuff like that, get into the suck and kind of have fun with it. That would be probably pretty cool.
It's a compelling argument. I don't say this often, but he might be right.
The pack out is one I definitely wish my 2 brothers were with me. Chris?
Just hunting turkeys somewhere. I view turkeys as it's the funnest thing that I hunt. Deer for me is just putting them in the freezer for the family for the year. And like I always tell myself, like I'll drive to kill a turkey, or I'll drive to hunt a turkey. And just the whole aspect of turkey hunting of, whether you can hunt till 12 or 1 or whatever the state can do, that you have the rest of the day to hang out and fish and do whatever you want with the time. So anywhere in the Midwest somewhere, go hunt turkeys. We've been out to Missouri a couple of times, and it's just the fun in doing that, and then having all this other time to do things, whether you're looking for sheds or morels or fish or whatever the case is.
Some of us like to sleep.
Well, you can get a little
When you
nap.
can.
All right, but you can do that elk hunting too. Middle of the day, it slows down.
So what's it like? So the order in which you're born, Chris. You said you're the youngest.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm the youngest in my household too, so I can relate to you probably the most. Josh and Justin, how do you guys fall?
He's older than me. I'm the middle child.
All right,
4 years older than me, and
he's
then
the
I'm
old man.
Is it 4? I thought it was 5 and 6.
that's
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of the parents had 4 years of working the kinks out with me before they were able to, start perfecting things with them. So they felt, I was a guinea pig, really, probably.
Brady, you're the youngest too. Now, Matt, you got a sister that's younger than you, but I always say being the youngest, like they just after they perfected it, they stopped.
Yeah, we go.
Thank you for that. We're gonna hear about that.
So when you guys like hunt, play sports, whatever, like talk about competitive juices, are you guys? I mean, obviously we love it to see one another's success, especially as we age and mature in hunting. But what was that like growing up? Cutting your teeth hunting, whether you're hunting birds, whether you're hunting deer, whatever your poison, pick your poison.
I don't know if we were ever competitive hunting in sports, yeah, but I don't know about hunting. I don't think we never really carried that into the outdoors. I wouldn't think.
There's always trash talk. I mean, we're always trash talking, but I think, as far as winning, hunting's different. I mean,
It is if it's in your DNA, and if you grew up in a hunting family, you build a little bit different.
Yeah. So I think you want every time my phone rings in turkey season. I mean, FaceTime's a big thing. When somebody's hunting and a FaceTime buzzes up, you know what you're about to see, and there's nothing more exciting to that. And so I don't know. I think obviously sports wise, there's always competition, playing cards, anything. But no, hunting is kind of a we over me thing.
That probably was a long time ago. There might have been a lot more competition, but I feel like now it's just wanting each other to be successful. Just you saying that I feel like one time I was real competitive when I was in high school or something like that. We used to go out to Bedford and hunt all the time. And Josh, I don't know if you were there, Justin, but Josh was out with us, and it was before antler restriction.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember shooting a spike that had probably
3 points,
or it was a 3-point or something. It was small.
It was a spike with a kicker. We're not going to call it a 3-point.
And I just remember saying, whenever Josh came over the radio and said that he'd shot a buck, I was like, "There's no way his is smaller than mine." And then to my surprise and happiness, like somehow he shot a tiny little spike that was smaller than mine. But most of the time, I feel like that was when we were in high school and maybe we were a little more competitive. But now it's just, I don't know. If we all go hunting and one of these guys kill, like normally I'm good. Like, because all the stuff that comes after that is fun. I'm the type of person that like someone kills something and I'm excited to either skin it or be around that. Or whatever the case is. So there's not a ton of competition anymore.
Yeah, I'm probably the opposite. I think Chris is, in the last 10 years you've been with me, and I've shot how many turkeys, and every time I feel terrible that he's not the one. It didn't come on his side of the tree, or for whatever case. Like I can think of the one in Maryland 2 years ago on the first day it was. There was 2 different birds, and I don't even know what happened on his end, but I was looking at the bird that was 100 yards away, and there was one that was 15 yards that was just sneaking through. But yeah, I don't know how many times that's happened, but every time I feel bad. So.
Yeah, I think as we get older, when you're younger, I talked about this, sometimes where, when I was younger, I just wanted to I wanted to kill the game that I was going after, you know. But as you get older, you do want to see, like hunting with Brady. Like, I wanted to see him be successful, and I'm just as pumped. You talk about like that phone call or that text message that comes through when you're in the woods. I'm sure, Brady, you can share on that, you know. And Matt and I, you know, we're only a year apart, and we grew up literally a couple houses down from one another, and we started together. And you know, we go out, it didn't matter if we killed or not, you know, we were dragging deer for guys and helping them gut the deer and that sort of stuff. We just wanted to see people be successful.
I don't know how many deer I drug and gutted that weren't ones I killed. It's countless. Yeah.
We've drugged some deer after antler restrictions that some fellas were scared to go retrieve.
Yeah. We done a few of them.
Yeah, I'd say me and Ron got close probably 3 years ago, I'd say, where we'd be hunting together all the time and kind of like we'd go out to the woods, same mission. But it definitely uplifts you a lot having a good hunting buddy, as we say. Like, you're tired, it's been a long hunt, your legs are shot, but you know, Ron's saying, you know, he's seeing some, or you know, if Ron got one, that like motivates me. I'm fired up. I'm like, I got to go get mine now so we can really celebrate. But it definitely goes a long way having, you know, somewhere to motivate you. But yeah, I think it comes with age and maturity, you know, just to appreciate your game, and just those that are around you realize that's more of like a brotherhood than it is, you know, a selfish thing.
And I think when we're out there hunting together, like we're doing the thing, you know, kind of said this before, like when we're out there hunting, we're doing the thing we went to do. When we get to go hunting together, if things aren't good, it's, you know, we're picking each other up somehow. We're either, if we're not together, we're joking by text or something, you know, we're keeping it lively. If we're with each other, you know, the spirits are always higher. The long walk is easier. But, you know, because we're already out there, we're successful in that we're there doing what we went to do, and we're trying to kill something, but it's going to be a good time no matter what. You can't beat that.
No, I know there's a lot of times where I would have packed it in if I didn't have, you know, somebody out there sort of just prod me along too. And sometimes it's getting out of bed in the morning when it's cold.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
there's May, that's a big thing.
There's times where, you know, I would say Chris and I hunt a fair amount. Josh does a lot all over the place, and it doesn't work out to, you know, I haven't gotten to hunt with him as much. But there's nights where it gets late in the season and Chris and I are planning on going, and part of me is kind of like, you know, I'd be okay if he's always ready to go, and then you go and you're glad you went. You know, that's 100% of the time you're glad you went.
No doubt.
I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but this is what I feel. You know, you're young, your dad or your pap's mentoring you. You know, basically they're teaching you the way, and then you get to a point where you're like, all right, I got this, and you're motivated to go up by yourself. So I've been in that phase for a little bit, like, let me go out there, I'm staying sun up to sundown. But as I get older, I realize, you know, it's not just the hunt, it's about the memories that you make along the way. So I'm more like, all right, I'll tag around with you, Ron, I'll bring the camera. So it's not necessarily just sitting in the woods, you know, we're able to talk, the walk in, the walk out, but you know, the memories made along the way. So I'll do anything to, you know, sacrifice a hunt, or, you know, go sit with my grandfather that has a little hard time getting in the woods. You know, it just means a little bit more when you do that now as you get older and that maturity.
Yeah, right on. I mean, that's why, you know, I like to deer hunt, but a lot of that we talk about, you're on your own, you know, versus like we're going to go trout fishing. You get to hang out, you know, and spend some time and make some memories with one another. Like, so depending on the animal that you're going after, it definitely is a little bit different. Tell me a little bit about like a, you know, comical mishap, or I'll never forget the time that fill in the blank.
Well, I got one. It'd be the Jared's Maryland buck. That was one of our good buddies shot a deer, and you'd be better telling the story. Justin had shot a deer after he said he wasn't going to shoot one.
I think
He actually sent a text and said nobody shoot a deer tonight, and he was the first one that shot one. So after he did that, then it was kind of opened the gates up. I think we all killed.
so.
It was like 95 degrees. It was miserable.
It was.
He was
It
in
was-
shorts, no shirt, and Crocs probably.
It was opening day of Maryland archery. You weren't there, so it was a buddy of ours, me and Josh, and we had planned on going down. And then, of course, it was 90 some degrees, but we were planning to go, so we went. We went down. We went hunting, and we get out in the woods, and it's like I'm wearing literally like my khaki cargo shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Had my boots on or whatever, but like I packed in light kind of ghillie suit pants. I had just my ghillie top on, had a tree stand. We got back in there and we're sweating, and it's the dumbest thing that we'd maybe ever have done, because it's 90 some degrees, and it wasn't like it was a crazy long distance, but any distance is long in 90 degrees. So we got back in there, and I'm walking around looking for a tree to climb. Sweat is just pouring, and I'm sweating all over the place. I think I'm not going to kill anything anyways. Only tree to climb was like this shagbark hickory. So I'm done. I sat down on a log next to a tree, threw my tree stand down, didn't even take my quiver off my bow. Texted, Josh and our buddy Jared, and I'm like, dude, this is dumb. Okay. I don't know what we're doing. This is ridiculous. I'm not helping anybody get a deer out of here tonight. If anybody shoots a deer tonight, you're on your own. I'll be at the truck with the AC on, And I'm sitting there, and I don't know. It's hour before dark.
It was 4:30.
Yeah, I don't know. It was early.
4:30 when you shot here.
And I see this deer coming across, and I'm like, just go the other way. And it does. And I thought, okay, good. And then it comes back, and it's feeding in, and I just watch it. I watch it get inside like 20 yards, and then it's just feeding 20 yards away, right where I was walking around trying to find a tree to climb, sweating all over the place. And I'm sitting there, and I know this is gonna sound like a story. I'm telling you straight up, this is how it happened. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, bow's on the ground, didn't even take the quiver off. I'm like, even if I wanted to shoot that deer, I couldn't shoot that deer. So I'm kind of like, wow, I wonder if I could get my bow, get an arrow on, get my bow up. So I'm kind of sitting there, and as it's feeding, putting its head down, I'm getting stuff. I kind of get my quiver off, get my arrow out, get my arrow on. I'm like, man, this thing's feeding. I'm on the ground. It's 20 yards away. I'm wearing khaki shorts. And I thought, well, I can't shoot from sitting. There's no way I could get to my feet. So it just became a game at that point. Like how
test yourself.
How dumb is this deer gonna be?
Yeah, how dumb is this deer? How good am I? Really is what I'm thinking. So I ended up kind of get against a tree, and I start shimmying real quiet up the tree, and it's feeding, and it would lift its head, and I would stop, and then it would go back to feeding, and I'd get up, and I got to my feet. I was like, man, well, certainly I couldn't get the bow back. So I'm waiting for the right time. Drew, got the bow back. I'm like, man, I can't believe I got the bow back. And I just settled the pin just because I'm back.
This close.
And I'm like, man, if I was gonna right there, poof, there goes the arrow. I mean, perfect. I swear, I'm telling you, I Jedi mind tricked myself into shooting this deer. And the thing makes a semi-loop and crashes right in front of me. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So I texted him like I just shot a deer. And it was, I put my quiver back on, and I started walking for that. I knew it was down. I started walking towards it. I'm making as much noise as I can because I can't trust myself around any other deer should they come in, obviously.
What's that? Matt says instinct kicks in.
Instinct kicks in, yeah.
So I don't know, as I'm walking
Jared,
to like get my deer,
you've seen the buck.
here comes a deer running towards me, and it's a buck, and it stops about 30 yards away. It's kind of panting, and my phone is buzzing in my pocket, and I see it's Jared, and I hit the red button because this buck's 30 yards away. I'm staring at it, and it's kind of looking at me. It starts walking. Jared calls again. I pulled out the phone, and I said, what's up? He said, hey, I just shot a buck, and it ran towards you. And I was like, well, I'm watching a buck right now. He said, well, what's it look like? And it had a little different rack. And I explained it. He said, well, that's the buck I shot. I said, well, it's standing. He said, what's it doing? I said, it's looking at me. And I'm looking at him. And he's like, what's he? I said, he's just standing there. Can you tell if he's going? I said, he's standing there looking like, I don't know what's happening. So the buck kind of walks in behind, and I'm like, well, I should probably get off the phone. And he's, of course, we had hunted a couple times together, but he didn't really know me that well, and I didn't know him that well. And this was a very long time ago. And he says, well, listen, you can't walk over there near him. I'm like, thank you. Okay. I won't do that. So he walks in behind this brush, kind of lays down. I went back, sat at my tree. I'd already drugged my doe over next to the tree. And so I went back, sat down, and I don't know, what time did you shoot your deer?
About 30 yards before it died. I don't know.
Text comes in, just shot a deer. So we each have a deer that we got to get out of here on a night that nobody was allowed to shoot a deer.
Mm-hmm.
It started it off. So, but it ended up, we got Jared's buck was laying right where, there was a whole nother story in that we joke about as friends. Jared, our buddy Jared is super, super good dude. He gets worked up. He gets worked up. And whenever we got Josh and I's deer out, and then we went back in to give his more time. And when we went in, or we got Josh's deer out,
we got my deer out, and then
took the bows back.
Yeah, we drug it to this gate. There's a gate that we'd have to jump over, and we got her to the gate and went back. And it's dark.
Looks
Justin goes
different in the dark,
so it looks a little different. So he's like, and Jared's my best friend.
Always does look different in the dark.
One of my best friends, and I'm sitting back there with Jared, and this was the first time that he'd always wanted to come down, and it was the first time. I was like, yeah, come on. So he'd never hunted with Justin before. So I'm standing like 10 yards behind Justin. I could tell he's like up there thinking, he's like, and Jared's like losing his mind. He's like, he doesn't even know where he was. He doesn't know anything. I'm not going to find this deer. I don't know what happened. He's back. He's losing his mind.
Panic's starting to set in.
I'm kind of, because my bow, my deer, and everything is right there too. So like I'm trying to get my stuff, and it just looks different. Mm-hmm. So finally, I kind of get in the trail, but I can hear Jared back there, and he's chirping. Guy, he knows where my buck is. He doesn't even know where he's at. So I go in, find my stuff, and we walk over, and Jared's still. And I said, okay, that tree right over there that, is like this, walk in behind, and there the buck was laying.
Right.
And then, and then it was okay. I knew what I was talking about. So.
It's always better once you recover the animal.
Yeah.
There's something about that. Like you got a hit on an animal and you're just not sure until you see that, that white belly laying there. You know what I mean? Like you can even feel good about the hit, but until you find it,
there's always a little bit that you're not sure of.
How old were you guys during this?
Oh my gosh, mid-20s.
All right.
I'd say he was a little older. I'd say mid-20s. I was probably.
So that was
probably
30-ish.
Oh no, that was probably 2015-ish. Maybe something like that. Something or other.
Each year for me, the drags and just thinking about how much work after, you start to think a little bit more. But yeah, instinct kicks in, and then a day passed, and let's do it all over again.
See, this dude, we've done a fair amount of hunting together, and we've killed. We've had some success together, and kill a deer. He just wants to grab a hold of it and barrel out, and it's like the first handful of times like, let me help, let's do this together. It's to the point where I know I'm carrying a tree stand, a bow, and he grabs a hold of it, and I'm like, no, hold on, okay.
He does it all the time. I had to backpack one of his deer out up here.
He did.
He says that, but he does.
He did. I killed a deer up at Dublin down in bow and rifle season one time, and I took Josh up, and I didn't know. That was one of those things where I shot. I mean, it was 120 yards down through the woods, and a whole bunch of deer were better. Land rifle season, like they all just kind of exploded up. A doe stopped, I shot, but it was down through there a ways. And when I shot, I didn't think I saw it run away, but all these deer exploded everywhere. So, you know, I kind of waited. I was nervous, and I dropped a pin sort of where I thought it was, and called. Josh was available, so he came up later. We went down after dark, went down in. She was laying right there, and she was a big doe. But it's like, I mean, up out of this bowl, it's rocky. He's like, I just saw this thing on the internet or something the other day. I want to try it. So I
took
Did
the
we
front legs
got her?
and put them through the back legs and
carry it like
backpack.
backpack right up out of there. So he acts like, you know, he did me a giant favor. He wanted to do that.
I did one like that this year, Josh, and I didn't want to do it. And till I got to Civilization, Brady had to backpack it out for me because I was whipped. Those deer, man, they weigh a lot even after you field dress them out, man, especially when you're hiking vertical.
Yep, no doubt.
Just the way it is. So I can understand like why it'd be a lot more fun turkey hunting. They don't weigh as much carrying them out.
What do you got to say?
I more gravitate to sometimes just carrying a deer out or dragging a deer out's maybe the only thing that I've like helped out with during the hunt. So I'm like, you just worry about your bow, your tree stands and stuff. I'll take this and I'll start running to the truck or whatever. Or we feel bad. You know, depending on how worked up Justin is, and if it's a long drag, we feel like we'll just take care of it for you.
It's nice to have partners like that.
Yeah.
So
We got into packing them out now, which is a good time. So that's a lot more pleasurable because you can kind of take time to cut it up and talk, and then, you know, everybody gets a little bit of work in then.
Yeah, it's a different experience. So, you know, we packed one out last year, and I don't know, Brady had two deer.
Worth it.
What's that, brother?
I don't think your backpack was worth it.
Nah, man. Nah. I wasn't worth much until I got to where Brady was with the deer. But we had 4 to get out, and it was us 2. And you know, it's nice when you can call for reinforcements without a doubt.
For sure.
So Maryland Turkey's coming up soon. What is it? You said it's next weekend. It's the youth hunt.
Yeah, the 12th.
All right. Deal.
This weekend's Virginia.
Yeah, this weekend, me and my boy will be in Virginia for their youth.
Oh, Virginia. All right, cool.
Their youth opener, and then Maryland to be the next weekend, and then I think it's like I looked at our calendar. It's like the next 9 or 10 weeks we'll be turkey hunting.
That's awesome, man.
And which one of you guys said it was your son's first year?
So I have my youngest, Everett. This will be his first year. He's pretty excited about it. So
Right on.
I think he'll get to go. If I don't get to take him youth day, I think he's going to the third Saturday. I told him is going to be his day. So I got a little spot actually close to Justin's here that we got to do pretty good at on that day. So
Is he 7?
he's 8. He'll be 8 this year.
And Hudson's 8?
Mm-hmm.
But Hudson's killed 2 turkeys already, so he's a KG veteran.
Yeah.
That's it. Once you get one under your belt.
Yeah.
That's what they did for Matt and I. You know, whenever we were younger, they would the older guys that we hunted with, they take care of you until you had a little bit of success.
And you're on your own.
yeah, that's kind of the problem with having the age. Like when we were beginning to hunt, you couldn't hunt till you were 12. So we used to go out and sit. You know, I'd go out and sit with my mom when she's hunting, and she killed deer and all that. Now, like my boy, first time I took him turkey hunting, he killed one, and then last year on the first day of youth, he killed one on public. And it's like, I mean, I took him deer hunting twice this year, and he killed a buck the second time. So he just thinks that it's a normal thing. And I mean, not that I want him to have a bad experience, but I kind of just want to sit there all morning and not have anything happen because, you know, he just thinks, where are we going to kill a turkey now? And said, well, we might. So
Yeah, there are a lot of guys out there like me that I just don't have that experience.
but I mean, I guess I killed a turkey the first time I ever went turkey hunting too. So
Chris was had a lucky horseshoe for turkeys when he was younger.
yeah, I get pretty lucky.
Well, we want to, if you're looking to adopt somebody, I know that I'll be your youth hunt. You can guide me, take me out and guide me.
Brady's like, hold on a second. I've been working on that for a year. So
Brady's been always working on
Justin that tell me some tips, but I mean, it sounds like the three of you are really locked in on it. So, I mean, I'm sure all of you growing up together, sounds like all your adventures together, makes it easy. But, yeah, it's something I'm trying to get more passionate about. Probably 2 years ago was where I really hunted. Last year a little bit more, but the schedule's getting busy, just about making time for it. But each time going out, I don't regret ever going out. I'll say that, don't have success, but the sun starts to rise. You'll hear a gobbler off in the distance, or even just hearing the birds in the forest awake. You can't beat it. But yeah, I just need to tune in a little bit or switch up something with my strategy to try to put myself in a better spot. But
being out there is the deal. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about that, and you gotta be out there, even if it's just off the roost to see if today's the day. Just being out there is the big thing. I mean, you can do things to kill them, obviously. You can put yourself in a better position, but just out there gives you a chance. So you said you have two. You're gonna turkey hunt twice. Is that what you said?
Well, so I'm looking at my weekends. Probably 2 or 3 weekends, but that's the weekends. I mean, as I said, I got a little flexibility in my schedule, so I'll probably get out a few weekdays. So I know you have some. That's your time to run a roll. So maybe we'll have to see about touching base on that. But
we absolutely can.
Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I need to be better about the scouting aspect. Like I'll go for a drive scouting, but as to truly like park the truck, go for a walk. I know you can use a crow call or owl call to locate them the night before, and and pattern them. But that's I guess where I struggle with, and I know I need to do better. It's like the math test. If you don't study too much for the math test, you're not going to do good at the math test. So the more you study, the more you practice, the more you involve yourself, the better spot you'll be in.
Yeah, I think I took that. These guys probably have always. I'm probably the worst turkey hunter out of these guys as far as calling and things like that. I've kind of been riding the train with these guys for a long time, as far whether I'm just sitting with them or whatever. But like the last few years, I really kind of said, "Hey, all right, like you go out solo, like try to keep going." And it's been cool for me because I've found some success with that in just, I guess, quantity over quality or whatever you want to call it. And the only bad part about that is like when I killed my bird last year, like I wish these guys were there. You always wish, like, dang, man,
Right.
I wish there was someone here, that I'm not just sitting here in this field, going to go take it back to the car and then go home and then go to work. Where I didn't really get to enjoy it, try to get home before my kids get on the bus or whatever the case is and enjoy it with them. So,
I wish I was with you on your turkey 2 years ago.
Yeah. And that
we were getting a play-by-play through text message, and I'm at a place, and I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Pretty cool morning.
Yeah. I mean, we killed that turkey. I killed that turkey, because we, I'd hunted some public and went like every day and, kind of base things off of people's pressure. And I knew where there was a turkey. And then I didn't hear him for like 6 straight times I went hunting. And I thought, well, I don't hunt there on the weekend, so maybe someone killed him. And then Josh was hunting a new place down in South PA. And I went with him just to go and check this farm out. And I actually took the day off work. And when I was driving home, it was like 11 o'clock. And I thought, man, I'm going to go sit. And I had nothing else to do. So I just went and sat in this one parking lot close, and I heard him gobble. And I thought, oh, man, this was May 25th. So this was real late in the season. And I said, well, he's still alive. I'm going to be back there tomorrow morning. And I went back in tomorrow morning, and he was gobbling, killing him. So I would have, probably maybe not have went, I'd went like I don't know, outside of Sunday and Saturday, maybe like 5-6 times and didn't even hear a turkey. So just because we went and did that and I heard him gobble, it gave me a little motivation to go back in there the next morning and, was able to be there at the right time. But that's all public, so it makes you feel good about it, at least.
Yeah, you gotta what do they say? You can't kill them from the couch. You gotta be in the woods.
And there's a lot of times I leave. I remember we've been in Maryland a couple of times, and I've been like frustrated. And I'm like, I'm going home because I want to get home, by 1 o'clock or whatever the case is. And the last time I did that with Justin, I was driving home on whatever it was, 70 or whatever, and Justin FaceTimes, and after I left, he went putzing around, found a turkey, and killed it. And I thought, man, you just got to stay out in the woods.
And that turkey, that was a Sunday. We had hunted Saturday. We hunted Sunday, and we were on a bird that we were on Saturday, and should have killed him the day before. Almost killed him the day before. It was just a little bit off on the setup.
You can tell him.
Was that the
So
bird somebody else or something?
I was like, hey, I'm going to call you a turkey in, and you're going to kill it. So I can do this. Well, in my setup, I went to a place where that bird could see, right? So I didn't dive down over a little hill or whatever. And when that bird came in, I saw it, but he couldn't quite see it. And that bird didn't see the hen.
Him.
So he just skirted us and went. And that was like, geez, man,
I could see him strutting and gobbling, but he was probably 50 yards. There was this little bump, and like these ridges are, kind of you're up, on, down. And this ridge comes down. There was a little bit of a bump, and then it dropped off. And that turkey was right on the other side. So I didn't get close enough to the bump. And it was one of those things where it's like, man, I feel like I need to get up there another 20, 30 yards. With the turkey, you want to get to where when he can see, he's dead.
Yeah, he's too close.
So for me, I was thinking I need to get closer to that bump, but you're afraid to because he's gobbling really good on his own, completely on his own. Hadn't called yet, and it's just like, yeah, you don't want to blow it. So I'm like, okay, this is a decent tree. I'm just going to sit here, but I'm about 50 yards from that bump. Now Chris went back, and I do like to, I like to start my calling on top, but then dive off down in, because in my mind, I want that turkey to try to run. They're going to try to be above the hen. They want to be where they can see. So I'm going to try to dive off a little bit. It's not a foolproof thing, just in my mind, that gives you the best chance. So he had set up and started calling, and it was that bird got to the bump, and I could see him strutting, gobbling, but he could see where the calling was come from. And that is, at that point, he's done everything he needed to do. Now, the right turkey on the right day, he'd have kept coming. But that turkey said, she can see me. I can hear I know exactly where she was at. If she's not coming, I'm not going. So the next day we got in there. He had left, don't know where he went. But we had made a setup to get in there the next morning in the dark and get set up on him. Well, he was on the next ridge. Somebody had come in, had parked below, which, turkeys, again, you kind of always want to be above them. This dude came in from below. I don't know what the setup was, but right off a roost, he killed him. So our bird was dead. So we stopped a dozen places, whether it was just getting off the road 20 yards and crow calling, whatever, trying to get a gobble, trying to strike something, or hiking a quarter mile back in, nothing. Dozen places we stopped. We got to kind of the park and ride area, and he wanted to be home by a certain time. And we were defeated, it was a good day. It was a cool day, but the day's over. Let's go back to camp, get a nap. But I had stopped 3 or 4 other places. And when I killed that bird, I just dropped him off. I checked maybe one more spot. And then I got to this spot, and it was a spot where I thought, well, this isn't going to yield anything. But I had heard the bird. Could just hear him gobbling, and ended up like it was super cool hunt. Like he came right in gobbling decent, but I thought they were coming up over the hill right in front of me. They popped out to the left, and I had to make a move. It was super cool, and you just all day you were getting your butt kicked. It's like wrestling. Chris tells the kids this. You can be in a football game, and if you're down 40 points with 2 minutes left, guess what? Next week. Basketball, same thing. Wrestling, you can be down 14, can be 5 seconds left, doesn't matter. The match can be over like that. Like, that's how it was. We spent all this just from killing a turkey standpoint, losing and not even in the game for most of it. And then all of a sudden, that one bird, that one time, when every part of you is saying, just go back to camp, the caught probably feels good. Got into the right bird, and I mean, he came right in, and it was an awesome hunt.
Yeah, sometimes it just goes right, sometimes it doesn't. And that's just about the way any hunt can go. It can change on a dime. Like, you can put a lot of hours in and it not work out, but when it's right, you're at the right place at the right time. That's why we do it. That's what gets the blood pumping.
Yeah,
agree more.
Well, listen, guys. This sort of like an introductory episode. Justin, you're sort of like a regular returning guest for us. I really appreciate getting to know Josh and Chris a little bit. And like I said at the beginning, we never get everybody on at the same time, but to have Brady and Matt and everybody, the whole gang on here, is just kind of like we probably want to play the lottery tonight. This is sort of just wanting to bring you guys into the hunting family. I know you're like sort of loosely connected to the Tracks and Tackle family, but you guys are in now. You're welcome back anytime you want to sit and sort of shoot the breeze or whatever. You should get together and shoot the bows a little bit. Matt's going to be working on a bow for me here. I got to get my bow finalized. I might have to stop down at the shop and pick up some parts, one of these nights where you're down in the shop, Justin. But outside of that, what do you guys got going on this summer? What's next for you?
Turkey season. That's this weekend. So yeah, just as far as hunting wise, turkey season, and then we'll do some fishing and stuff this summer. A lot of wrestling, and then into deer hunting in the fall. So and then more
That's
wrestling.
it. Well, best of luck to your son. Getting out there. Sounds like you got it in his DNA. So
Sounds like I need to help him.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. So if you guys had to leave some parting words for our listeners out there, if somebody's just getting ready they weren't born into it like you guys were, like we were, but you had to give them words of encouragement. They want to get into this hunting world and lifestyle. What would those words of encouragement be?
I don't know. I would just say I love hunting with other people. We're pretty fortunate that I have two brothers that hunt, and we're all have similar attitudes, and want to try to get out and do that with each other. And maybe that's family, or maybe it's your friends or something like that. But my joy of hunting is just being around other people, and no matter if I pull the trigger or not, like, it's a good time, and I value that, and I'm trying to kind of put that onto my make my kids understand that. Because I could sit here and talk all day about hunts that we've been on that these guys have killed, and it brings probably more joy than whether I killed a deer or I killed a turkey or whatever the case is. But it's just sitting around and talking about those things that have happened, and how cool they were, and every story is a little bit different and has those the fun parts, probably a lot of bad parts too, whether it's you're getting your butt kicked or whatever, but you always kind of bring a positive out of it, and no one ever says, no, I don't want to go hunting, no, let's not do this next year, or turkey's coming up, no, let's not do that. So it's fun to be around, and it's a part of a tradition that hopefully I'll always cherish.
Yeah, those great words, because it is the retelling of the story, as tall of a tale as it may be sometimes, there's definitely enjoyment in that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, but I would say mine would be to somebody just coming into the hunting world in general, would just be like find passion for being outside, find passion for the outdoors. One of my favorite quotes is the Fox Haas quote where it's like, God only made so many sunrises and I don't plan to miss any. Like that's a true thing for me. Like that's what gets me to want to get up most mornings, especially late in turkey season. Like I wonder what it's going to look like this morning. I love whippoorwills. I love hearing them. I love sitting in the woods in the dark, and that's the only thing that you hear. But yeah, just find passion in being outside. Find little things other than, because success doesn't always happen in killing or, because you could miss something, and that's like the worst thing that could happen. So that could ruin your whole outlook towards hunting if when that happens. But yeah, just
Find
nature.
the passion. Yeah. Embrace it.
Yep.
And I think it's easy for us to say, go do this thing, spend every minute that you can out there. I think it's easy for us to say that, but I also think that like we should be grateful that we're wired towards that. Like we should be grateful and thankful that whatever it is, whether it's how you're wired or how you're raised or the combination of both or what it is, there's people that just, they don't have that. They're not wired to enjoy it as much as we enjoy it. And I'm thankful because I know, the life is a rat race, right? All the cliches, but that really is it, man. You just, especially when you have kids, you're trying to do the best you can for them. And it feels a lot of times like you're just trying to survive the day, not like a life and death thing, but you're just trying to beat the day,
Yeah.
you get to the next day, but then at some point you realize that, man, you missed a lot of days. And work for me the last year has been, responsibilities have changed and it's a lot more responsibility. There's a lot more on you. And I've always enjoyed my time out there, but even more so now, like I need it. And I'm extremely thankful, and blessed to enjoy it because I'm not sure what, without that time out there, it would be really tough. So I'm just thankful to be wired that way. I think it's easy to say, hey, go get up at 3:00 in the morning, go hike, 35 minutes to get to your spot just to watch the sun start to rise and hear the birds and stuff. And I don't think we know how lucky we are for that to matter to us. And there's a different level of that for everybody. But us as kind of a community. So you know what? The world isn't geared more and more towards that. The world is geared more towards don't go out, don't be outside. There's so much inside stuff. And the people that don't get a chance to be exposed to that or pushed to that, you don't know if you're wired that way, but you may find out that it's something you need. So
No doubt.
Get out there and do it.
Yeah. A little fresh air will go a long way for your mental health too.
For sure.
Matt, parting words from you, brother.
They pretty much got it covered, I think, this week. They're, they pretty well covered it.
Do you hunt turkeys, Matt?
Not really. I've been out a couple times, but not. I mean, I'm not a huge turkey hunter. I've been, I was on a hunt with my dad and my boy. Mason was young then, but they both killed. I was the only one that didn't kill, and I was the one paying for them all to be there. But that was still cool. It was still worth the trip. But I killed one when I was I might have been out of high school yet. I killed a fall turkey one year with a bow. There was a bunch of guys in Bedford, and they were telling me how hard turkeys were to kill, and I was the only guy in camp deer hunting. And these turkeys come strolling under the tree stand. I was like, well, this don't look so hard. So I stuck one fast to the ground and took it back to camp. I was like, what was so hard about that, guys? That's the only turkey I've ever killed, though.
I've got a similar story to that. I won't get into it tonight.
Yeah, that's the only turkey I've ever killed. I've been out a couple times, and it is. I can see how it's addicting. I just end up being too busy. I get too many things going on.
Pick your battles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Brady. Parting words from you, my man.
Yeah, I mean, just get outside. Just enjoy your time out in nature. It's a beautiful place we got here, so we just gotta enjoy it with our short time while we're here.
No doubt, no doubt. Justin, you want to do a plug for Interstate?
Yeah. I guess it's getting to the time of the year where, again, we talked about this I think on the last one, but summertime, the houses, attached areas get real warm when it's hot. In the winter, it gets real cold, real noisy. Replacing that stuff, getting good quality stuff makes a big difference. Even if you don't want to do something new, like planned maintenance type stuff is a big deal. There's not springs and stuff. You can't necessarily keep maintenance them to keep them from breaking so much. I mean, it'll help, but they go when they go. But planned maintenance will help you keep everything running right. And I mean, a garage door is not a big deal. You never think about it till it don't go up and down, and then you're not getting into your house right. So, I mean, we do our best to do a great job for everybody, and we would support the podcast no matter what, But it'd be nice to have some more tracks and tackle people roll around. So
Come
excited
on.
to hear from you.
Well, Interstate's been with us here, just about from the start, and certainly appreciate the support from you guys. We're always going to send people your way. If you're listening or watching, you can contact them at igdoors.com. Justin's he'll sell you something, but they do got a good group of guys down there that will take care of whatever your needs are, even if you don't know exactly what the issue is or what you're looking for. They'll guide you through the entire process. So appreciate you guys for your support. For anybody else, man, you can find us online. Check us out at Mentzer Outdoors, and also you can find us at Tracks and Tackle. And just want to get the rest of this hunting crew out there listening to us. If you got your own stories, we want you to share them with us. So send us a note, drop us a comment. I know we got some fishing coming up, some turkey hunting coming up. We'll probably have some content rolling out pretty soon. Brady and I have been working on that, and just want to hear from the listeners out there. So you got feedback, tell us your own story, look us up online. But it's getting that time of year. So get outdoors. Nature is our playground, and stay wild, friends.